Hey everybody, and welcome to the very last video of Level 3. You have made it. You're almost done with Level 3. Today's lesson, we're going to be talking about 16th rests and dotted 8th rests in 4/4 time. So let's talk about 16th rests first. So all we're going to be doing is taking one of these four 16th notes that would be worth one beat in 4/4 time signature. We're taking one of those 16th notes and we're just turning it into a reths. It could be this one, could be this one, could be this one, or it could be this one. The one, the e, the and, or the in the one e and a combination of 16th notes. So if we're only using one 16th rest, that means that there's going to be four different kind of combinations we can get from these four possible 16th notes. The first one I'd like to show you is this one. So in this example, we took the E of the beat out and just changed it into a 16th rest. So a 16th note, turn it to a 16th rest. This is going to sound really slowly like one sh and a, one sh and a. Now if I took that faster, one sh and a, one sh and a. Then lastly, without the sh in there, one and a. One and a. Actually, it kind of sounds like this figure a little bit. Instead of starting with an 8th note, you're starting with a 16th note followed by a 16th rest. Okay, and this is the next example. This time the of the original 4 has been taken out and in place with a 16th rest. This is simply just going to be one e and sh, or faster, one e and sh, one e and sh. And without me saying the sh, it is 1en, 1en. And this one kind of reminds me of this figure a little bit. And for the same reason, instead of an 8th note at the end, now we have a 16th note followed by a 16th rest. But it still takes care of all of the and in that beat. The next example, this time we take the and 16th note and turn that into a 16th rest. And that's going to be 1 e sh Faster is 1 e sh 1 e sh And then finally 1 e 1 e 1 e And the last example, this time the only other option is if we took the downbeat out and turned that into a 16th rest, and that would be sh e and da. Faster would be sh e and da, sh e and da. And then lastly, e and da. E and a. If I snapped on the downbeat, E and a. E and a. So those are the four combinations that are possible when you're using only one 16th rest. And another good thing to keep in mind is that all of these examples, they're all worth one beat. Just one beat. This is worth a beat, that's a beat, that's a beat, and then that's a beat. They're all worth one beat when you're in 4/4, or 3/4, or 2/4, some kind of time signature with a 4 on the bottom. They're all worth one beat because quarter notes are all worth one beat, and 4 16th notes up here equal a quarter note. And these are just variants of that. So here's an example using all of those variants that we were just talking about. I like to kind of, before I perform something like this with all these 16th notes, I like to figure out where each beat starts, right? So beat 1 is here. Beat 2 starts with a 16th rest right there. Beat 3 starts here. And then beat 4 is simply 2 8th notes. Second line is beat 1 here. Beat 2 is here. Beat 3 is here. Beat 4 is here. And so like I said in the last slide, each of those variants are worth one beat. So you see how they all kind of fit within either beats 1, beat 2, or beat 3, or beat 4 here. Okay, so the red dot as I perform it is just going to show you the beats, which is essentially what you'll be tapping or foot tapping for me when you do your examples for the worksheet. Here we go. 2, ready, go. 1 e and a, 3 and a, 4 and. 1 e and 2, 3 e, 4 e and a. Again on ta. Ready, go. Ta 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 ta. So I think the trickiest one is this one, because you gotta have ta-ta-ta, e-enda. That e-enda has to come right after that downbeat. One e-enda, e-enda. So try and be as accurate as you can with that. Okay, so the next slide we're going to talk about different combinations now using two 16th rests within these four possible 16th notes. Alright, so here's the first one. In this case, we took the E and the middle two 16th notes, and turned them into both rests. So now all we have left is one So this is going to be one one or faster, one one and then lastly one 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 Just the outside 16th notes there. In fact, this may remind you of this figure, because that also uses one You're just holding the dotted eighth note just a little bit longer. Okay, and here's the next example. In this case, the and the are the ones that were turned into 16th rests. And so this is going to sound like this. One e sh. Faster would be one e sh, one e sh, and then lastly one e, one e, one e. Now you actually wouldn't see it written with these two 16th rests in a row. In fact, almost all the time, someone who's writing the rhythm would actually just turn those two 16th rests into one 8th rest, like this. But it's still going to sound the exact same way. The next example keeps the back two 16th notes and replaces the first two with 16th rests. This is going to be sh, and Faster will be sh, and and then lastly, and and. And just like last time, you wouldn't see the two 16th rests together. You would see just one 8th rest. And I saved the most difficult for last, most likely. In this case, we took the downbeat and the and changed them into 16th rests. And this is going to sound like this. Sh, e, sh, Faster is sh, e, sh, e, sh, and then that's really hard to do, so let's take the sh's out of there. That's e, 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 This e comes right after the downbeat. E, 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 That's the toughest one, but those are all the combinations, actually not all of them, but all the ones that you'll most likely see with two 16th rests involved. Alright, and before we get to the last kind of rhythm example that ties it all together, we still have to talk about one more situation. What if I was writing music and I only wanted to hear the last 16th note of a beat? So the right? I don't want to hear this one, or this one anymore. What do? How do you write that? You would actually substitute all three of those 16th notes and turn them all into one dotted 8th rest. And you can do that because a dotted 8th rest equals 3 16th rests. So that's all you need to put there. And then this would sound like this. Sh, two. Sh, two. A little faster would be two, two, two. And then lastly, two, two, two. Kind of sounds like you're sneezing, but that's because this last 16th note is so close to the next downbeat. Two, two. So yeah, and that's the last example with 16th notes and rests involved that I want to talk about. Okay guys, last slide, last rhythm examples. I'm going to perform each line twice. The red dot is going to show you where the beats start, which is very important to understand how these go. Here we go. 2, ready, go. 1 E, 2 N, E and a 4. Ta 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 ta. 1 N, 3 N, 4 E. Ta 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 ta. 1 E and a E, 3 N, and a ta 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 ta. I think the toughest ones involved, the toughest beats are this one, the E, and then this one where you're just playing the 3 N. Okay, and that's it. Again, let me know if you need any help, and congratulations on getting to the end of level 3. We will see you guys in level 4.